Okay, well, anyway, welcome to eighth week, and we are. Oh, here we go. All right, so I'll open up a class or a poll, and let's see. So we want 102A, and click quick poll. And what letter should we choose for today? C. Okay, we're gonna do C. C for cool. All right. Okay, so for attendance, choose C. Okay. If your friends aren't here, don't text your friends and tell them to choose option C. Okay. This is just for you guys to say you get attendance. I'm gonna be upset if people sign in when they're not actually here. Okay, a few things I want to talk about. One is secant method. We talked about secant method for root finding already, but when you guys are implementing it in code, you might run into some issues about how to draw the lines because there's a few scenarios and it's just a tiny bit more complicated than the other methods for drawing the lines. Okay, so let's talk about secant method. And I'm going to call the so the algorithm will have basically two old x points and will kind of return a new x point, right? And I think the picture that I drew, was something like this. I said you might have a curve. Let's use our smoothing tool there. And you might have some kind of curve. Where did my colors go? There they are. Okay. You might have this point and this point. And so when you connect them with a secant line, it will look like this. Okay. And in this picture, I will call this, we've got x old, we have x old, and this one is x new, okay? And so as far as the endpoints of the segment go, segment endpoints, our left is x new, and our right is going to be, I guess we can call this one x old 1 and x old 2, all right? It's x old 2. Okay. However, if you had a different scenario, that might not necessarily be the case. Okay, so here's here's one picture, but we could have another one. I'm having trouble drawing straight lines. Okay, so let's say we have this, and I've got this one. Okay, and let's say we have this point and this point. And so now we have this, right? And the labels here are, we'll call this x old 1, and this will be x old 2, and this is x new, right? All right, and then so as far as the segment endpoints, the left is x old 1, and the right is x new. And then, and furthermore, there's an even more scenarios, okay, where you could have something like this. These could be your two x points. Okay, and so here's x old 1, here's x old 2, and here is x new. Yeah. Okay, and then so in this case, the segment endpoints on the left are going to be x old 2, and on the right will be x old 1. Okay, so inside your algorithm, you've got some kind of, you have your function, whatever, secant method. It's a function, and then you give it the function, and you give it basically an x0 and an x1 and a tolerance, etc. Okay, so this is all pseudocode. And then somewhere inside here, you've got a loop, right? While da 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 da. Okay, and what are we going to do? Basically, we've got, you have somewhere in here, you have x old 1 and you have x old 2. And then you use x new is going to be the result of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. All right, so you plug in the equation for the algorithm, all right? And then somewhere down the line, you want to plot the segments, right? So we have to do a little bit of work because the segment takes in, x1, y1, and x2, y2, I believe, is the thing, right? So this there involves a tiny bit of work to figure out which points. You've got 3 candidate points, and one of them is going to be x1, and one of them has to be x2, right? So basically, somewhere in this code, somewhere between figuring out x new and plotting the segment, you've got to figure out which ones are going to be your x1 and your x2. So you got to do a little bit of work here, right? So basically, we'll just say x1 will be our left point, and this one is going to be the minimum of x old 1, x old 2, and x new. Okay. So this is going to be x1, and then y1 will be f of whatever x1 is. So you got to figure out what x1 is, and it's going to be the minimum of these 3, okay? And then x2 we will say is the right. And x2 will be the max of x old 1, x old 2, and x new, right? So you have 3 candidate points, and you have to choose the largest one to be the endpoint on the right, okay? And then y2 will be f of x2, whichever point you select. Does that kind of make sense? So you can't just go straight to figuring out your x new and then straight to plotting it. You have to do a little bit of working with these data points to figure out where the left point of your segment is and where the right endpoint of your segment is. Yes, question?
Just fit the window into the...
Yeah, I mean, you're not missing a whole lot here, but okay. No, I don't know how to do it. The only thing missing here is just it says x new and x new. Okay, that's the only. Here, let me see if I can. I don't know if that's better. Okay, there we go. All right, is that good? Everyone's good? Did everyone sign in on the attendance poll? Everyone signed in? Okay. Nobody's technical problems here? Okay, so we will go ahead and close the poll. Okay. All right. Are there any questions here? Okay, let's talk coordinate descent. So this is the other thing. That is covered in your homework.